Have you ever looked at your incredibly smart child and wondered, how can you know so much but never finish anything? Well, you're not imagining it, and it's not laziness either. There's a real reason why bright kids freeze. Parents of gifted, high IQ, like yours and mine, often feel confused because there's a gap between their ability and their execution, and it can be huge. And that gap isn't disobedience, it's not lack of motivation, it's executive functioning or lack of. And it's one of the most misunderstood skills, parts of the brain of anything that I work with. And it's often a reason why kids get mislabeled, but it's really something that can be learned and develops over time. I had this mom, Haley, and she told me, "My son, he can explain everything related to black holes, but he can't get his shoes on. Why?" And really, what the problem was, he was just this really super creative kid. He really could not he couldn't, when she would ask him to start his homework or clean his room or empty his backpack, like he would just freeze. He would much rather have like a full on mold experiment in his room than get started. And, she tried everything you could think of. She tried the incentives, she tried the punishment, the removal of everything you could think of, and nothing seemed to matter. And in fact, she really was like, does he actually even care? Because we can misinterpret freeze as lack of caring. And that's a big, big mistake. She really started to think, okay, something is going on. Like, I know he cares because when things come more naturally for him, he really can do well. It's just in all the other areas. She started to say Milo wasn't stuck because he didn't want to do it. Something was really going on, and that the capacity for him wasn't there. We learned that there really was something going on. And so, task initiation is the first executive skill to break down when a child is dysregulated or overwhelmed. And here's the part where parents go right into, or people lead you down this path. Okay, maybe it's your a grandparent, grandpa, maybe it's a pediatrician, maybe it's a teacher. They don't learn that executive functioning, what is it? Right, at its most base level, it's something called future thinking, and it's that a brain's ability to actually picture and see the end goal and break it down. So when I always use cooking because I love cooking and I love to teach kids through cooking, and there's so many great things that come of it. But like when I go to cook, I see the end result. I see the meal. I don't just go to the grocery store. I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe I'm making a shrimp Thai soup," right? So I see it, I can smell it, and then I work backwards. This is what people with good executive functioning do. They break the steps down in the sequence and they actually see it. And when we start really struggling with executive functioning, these are skills that kids just are missing. Guess what? You can learn to break things down in steps. You can learn to sequence those steps and stay on task and understand what the first one is. And all kids can do this. So, smart kids often know the content, but they don't see the path to A to Z. Sometimes they shut down, sometimes they over rely on adults, and scaffolding is not over relying. If we're putting scaffolding on as permanent, then we're over relying. But without a roadmap, the brain goes into overwhelm or avoidance or shutdown or paralysis. And those are the options, right? This has nothing to do with intelligence. It really is an issue of planning, the brain's ability to plan if executive functioning, if they're seeing that end result or not. And again, we can teach this. This is why, for me, executive functioning is always teaching this one core principle. Okay. And that is start with the end in mind and work backward. Most parents and teachers do the opposite. They start what they think is the first step. Get your checklist, sit down, and then they think the kid's got an IQ 137 or 100, whatever it is. They got at least normal intelligence. And they're like, he should be able to figure it out. He's studying black holes like Milo. It's just not the way it works. So when you're dysregulated or overwhelmed, the brain can't see invisible steps because this is gray stuff. So for when I teach kids and parents, right, the most important thing is I always say, imagine the finish line, imagine the product at the end, then walk backwards through the steps until you hit the beginning. You have to get them to activate the visual centers. And ideally, we're also actually gesturing, we're moving because once you add movement to learning, I don't have the official stats on this, but it amplifies learning. I've heard as much as 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. So it's somewhere between 4 to 20 times more amplification. And I think we can feel this. I'm redoing high school now by helping JC study for his test. He always wants me to help him study. I feel pretty lucky, actually, he wants me to help him study. I think because he knows, like, that I'm like, "Okay, let's come up with an acronym. Let's get up and move around." And his brain gets in his brain, and I can see it. It's paying off for him. When we start with the end in mind and we work backwards, it removes the overwhelm. That's the first thing it does. It makes a very concrete path. It also creates a consistent path if we're doing it all the time. It reduces pressure and it gives the brain something to really grab onto. And this is the single most effective strategy, starting with the end in mind, that I've taught thousands of people. If you want to know more about it, you can go to drroseann.com/EF toolkit. And I have a great inexpensive EF toolkit. Everybody who does it, including teachers, are like, why aren't we taught this? I'm like, I've been talking about this for a long time. Let's rewrite all these assumptions we have about our smart kids. Oh, that they're not motivated, or they can't see the step, or they're unwilling, or they're just being difficult, or I need to be low demand. That's the hot one now, too. Gentle parenting and low demand. I'm not saying some of it's not valid, but we got to start with the science of the brain. We know how to hack into executive functioning. And I've seen the most impaired kids improve. So I don't want to hear it if you think that's not your kid, because that's baloney and cheese. When we start teaching with executive functioning, we really think, how is that brain, how is that executive functioning job manager going to get off his coffee break and start doing the work? Teach with the end in mind. So, what does this look like in real life? Number one, we're going to say, let's picture when it's done. Gotta activate those visual centers at a gesture if you can. Now you have to help them. Now, you're not gonna be doing this forever, people, but they need your scaffolding. Let's picture that in 3 to 5 steps, not 20. Don't over break it down. Try to cluster things, just a flip few. Because again, they're not getting this. And especially my super high executive functioning parents, they're the worst. They're like, "I just see it." Okay? No, we have to show them. It's a skill. You're not born with it. Hope that's an aha moment for you. Then we say, what step comes before that, or what step comes after? Because we got to get them to think, here's the end product. What are the steps? And then you just keep working backwards. Keep it small. What's the micro steps here? Is it opening the laptop? Is it putting their name on the paper? Is it what is that diorama look like? That just came to my mind. That first step always has to be a doable action. And kids, by the way, when I do this with kids, and I've been using this for probably 20 years, when you do this with kids, they're going to be like, you're going to get that Bruce Banner turning into the Hulk. Don't let it happen. Just say, okay, yeah, we're doing something different. I find this helps me. Well, mommy's always making those recipes, or dad's always out there doing this project. And talk out loud when you're doing things. So that is incredibly important. And then before starting any of this, you've got to cue the nervous system to regulate. Don't skip that, because then the Hulk's going to come out instead of Bruce Banner. And a regulated body unlocks the brain. Okay. Yours and theirs, people. Okay. And if you're feeling annoyed, you're going to pause and you're going to walk away. Do not be there annoyed. Put your big girl and boy panties on and knock it off. Be regulated. Okay. They didn't ask to be born. You are their parents. So you have permission to dysregulate, but you got to let them know you need to pause and pull it together. And that, what a great learning lesson for them to say, hey, I'm an adult and I make mistakes and I can regulate. So sit with them for a minute or two. Don't talk too much. And then their nervous system's going to start to regulate. And we do this whether they're regulated or not. In our house, we use humor. What can you do? So I want you to really start thinking differently, that your kid isn't lazy, unmotivated, they're being disrespectful, they're defiant, oppositional. You have to start thinking their nervous system is frozen. How can I unfreeze it? What skill do I need to teach? And executive functioning is the first one to go offline. So don't jump to some freaking ADD medications. Oh, Madonna mia. Think about, what do they need? How can we regulate? And then break down that skill and teach them with the end in mind. It's actually super enjoyable. Like, I teach adults this because it's a skill that can be learned. So reverse engineer every task. Don't assume this kid that's super smart knows what they're doing, and give them a chance. If you want more ways to show your kids how to do executive functioning, grab my EF toolkit. I hope you enjoyed this saucy episode today, and I hope you're feeling inspired that your kids can regulate enough to get through, and complete a task, because guess what? They can.
Want more insights and solutions? Well, subscribe to our Dysregulation Insider and it will show up in your inbox every week.